Hi, everybody. So I'm going to be going over a little bit more in depth about elapsed time. I know you guys started working on that last week, but I'm going to show you a little bit of a different strategy that you might not have used last week, and that is the open number line. So I have two questions for you, and I'm going to show you how I would code through a question to pull out information and start solving it with an open number line. Okay, so let's read this first question. It says Alicia and her family visited the Kennedy Space Center. They watched a movie that began at 4:10 and ended at 4:53. How long did the movie last? So what I like to do is something called SES. I put that in the corner of my work when I'm solving an elapsed time problem, and that starts for start, elapsed, and stop. So when you're going through a problem, you can plug in what you know so that you know whether you're going forward in time, backward in time, or you're trying to figure out how much time has elapsed or passed between the start and stop. So in this problem, I know that the movie started at 4:10. So I'm going to put that in here. It started at 4:10. Okay? It stopped at 4:53, which means that I need to find the elapsed time. So this is kind of interesting. On my number line, I have the start time, which is 4:10, and I have the stop time, which is 4:53. Okay, now if I didn't know the start time, then I would need to work backwards. If I didn't know the stop time, then I would need to go forward. But since I don't know the elapsed time, I have to figure out how much time has passed. So I'm going to start jumping just by friendly number. So I'm going to start by jumping by 10. So if I go 10 minutes, it's going to be 4:20. If I go 10 more minutes, it's going to be 4:30. Now I could keep going by 10, but I can see that 30 to 50 is going to be 20 minutes. So I'm going to jump by 20 here. And that's going to bring me to 4:50. Now, what do I need to jump by to get from 4:50 to 4:53? I can see pretty easily that that's 3 minutes. So I could either jump 3 times by 1 minute, or I could just jump by 3. It doesn't really matter, whatever you feel comfortable with, just like when you're using an open number line. But now the important part is I have my number line written, I have my start time, my end time, and I did the work for the elapsed time, but I have to actually figure out how much time has passed. And luckily, these numbers are pretty easy to skip count by. So I'm going to start with 10, 20. 20 plus 20 is 40, 41, 42, 43. So how long did the movie last? It lasted 43 minutes. Okay, and the beautiful thing about an open number line is you can totally change it to fit your needs. Some of you might be able to look at 4:10 to 4:53 and just know that I have to jump 40 minutes, and then I have to jump 3, and then I would only have to add 40 and 3. Or we might not see that, and that's totally okay. Or we might be going longer amounts of time. We might be changing it over an hour. Then we could go by 10, 4:30, 4:40, 4:50, 4:51, 52, 53. Either way, you're going to get the elapsed time of 43 minutes. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and share another problem with you, and we're going to do the same type of process. If you need to see that problem again, or you need it to go a little bit slower, just pause the video. Okay, so again, before I even read, I'm going to get SES over here for start, elapsed, and stop, and I'm going to read the problem. Joven began his writing test at 8:45 a.m. The teacher tells them to finish writing at 9:34. How long did the writing test last? So again, I know my start time is 8:45. and the end time is 9:43. Sorry, 9:34. So what do I need to find? I need to find again the elapsed time. So I'm going to start at 8:45. Move this a little bit. And this actually is a little bit tricky too because there is a change of hour. I'm going from the 8 o'clock hour to the 9 o'clock hour. So I want to be careful. I'm sorry, let me try that again. Okay, so when I have something like this, you want to think about how to get to a friendly hour, okay? To get from 45 to 60 is going to be 15 minutes. Again, if you don't know that or you don't remember that from last week, you can go by 5s, you can go by 10s, whatever you want to go by, but I always recommend getting to a friendly even hour, especially when you're finding the elapsed time, because it's just much easier. Now I know that from 9 to 9:34, I know that's 34 minutes. I don't really have to break that down because 34 minus 0 is 34. And so now what I have to do is I have to add those together. Since it's not easy to skip count that way, I'm going to pull it over here. 4 1s and 5 1s is 9 1s, 3 10s and 1 10 is 4 10s. So how long did the writing test last? It lasted 49 minutes. So even if we went from 8:45 to 11:34, the process would be the same. We would just have to go longer. And if I were going to 11:34, then instead of going from 9 to 9:34, I might just go 1 hour to 10, 1 hour to 11, and then I could go my 34 minutes. So the beauty of that open number line is it works however you want it to work, whatever works for you, okay? Now I don't have another problem to share, but I am going to write one up really quickly because I realized that I showed you 2 questions where the elapsed time was missing. So this isn't going to be a word problem, but I am going to do an SES up here. And let's say that 1 hour and 12 minutes is our elapsed time, and our stop time is 3:54. So now I need to figure out what the start time is. So I need to, actually I'm going to leave this open because I'm going to go backwards because I know my stop time. 3:54. Now, when you're looking at your elapsed time, sometimes you'll have hours, sometimes you'll have minutes, sometimes you'll have both like I do here. Again, it's easiest to jump forward or backward by an hour. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to make one big jump back, 1 hour. And that's easy. I'm just going to change the hour hand part. I'm not going to change my minutes. So 3:54 comes back to 2:54. And I like to give myself a little check because sometimes you'll have to break it up and you don't want to forget what you've already jumped by. So now 12, if you can do 54 minus 12 in your head, then you could jump back 12. Or you could break it up. I'm going to break it up by 10. So 54. Now we're just changing the minutes because we're on minutes. 2:54 minus 10 minutes is going to be 2:44. So I went 10 minutes, so I still have to go 2. And I can't do that in my head. 44 minus 2 minutes is 2:42. Okay, give myself a little check. I went by an hour and 12 minutes. I have my stop time, and now I know my start time was 2:42. So if you know the start time and the elapsed time, you're going to move forward in time. If you know the stop time and the elapsed time, you're going to move backward in time. And if you know the start time and the stop time, you need to find how much time has elapsed or passed in the middle of your number line. Okay? If you need to review any of these things or you're having difficulty with your word problems through the week, come back to this video, slow it down if you need to, take some notes, and you can even do a practice problem like over here I did. I made that up right on the spot. Hope this helps, guys. Have a great week.